Republican presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy is blasting the liberal media's portrayal of Republican voters after an Iowa newspaper featured him in a racially charged political cartoon. The cartoon in Wednesday's Quad City Times depicts Ramaswamy at a campaign rally with, quote, MAGA friends. Members of the crowd, they are shown yelling racial insults at Ramaswamy. Ramaswamy is fiercely condemning the cartoon, tweeting this: "It's sad that this is how the mainstream media views Republicans. I've met with grassroots conservatives across America and never once experienced the kind of bigotry that I regularly see from the left. Iowa's Quad City absolutely has the right to print this, but it's still shameful." Emily, totally shameful. And the media, they always go after not the candidate, but the voters. Half the country, good, hardworking people who are not racist, as they suggest.
It's the dripping disdain from the far left, the elite condescension from the Democrat Party that we will never escape. I'm reminded of the interview he had with then-employed Don Lemon, who said, remember, they were talking about race relations in America. They were talking about Black Lives Matter. And Don Lemon said, you know, whatever race you are. That flippant disdain that Vivek then said, hold on. I'm Indian American, and I'm paraphrasing, and these are my thoughts. And it was such a stark moment. I think about President Biden and First Lady Jill Biden's callous, racist comments that they've made about multiple groups of people that they tend to knee-jerk sort of trigger to when they want their votes. They cater to when they want their votes, but when they speak about them, it's an absolute tropes, frankly, and stereotypes. They see everyone as a block. And to all of us who view people as individuals, as Americans first, it's deeply offensive that all of this damning racism comes from the left. And I'm reminded of those Seattle cops that I told you guys about during the riots, who were very diverse in race, in ethnicity, and also in sexual preference, and said that the worst bigotry and the worst racism they have ever experienced was on the streets of Seattle when the progressive mob was hurling insults at them. Yeah. Unrepeatable on air.
Paul, and you reminded us of some comments from the former vice president, now President Joe Biden. Let's watch.
I've had a great relationship. In Delaware, the largest growth in population is Indian Americans moving from India. You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent to fully. I'm not joking.
Yeah, will that cartoonist take that on? I don't think so. Doesn't this have the air a little bit of the white savior thing, right? In other words, this cartoonist has decided that Vivek, who is a multimillionaire tech giant, right? He's a very successful guy. He needs this cartoonist to protect him from the evil MAGA people, right? And you know, to Emily's point, you reminded me of something. During the riots of post-Floyd here in New York City, I was out there. I saw a black sergeant standing at one of the stanchions while the crowds were throwing stuff and yelling and screaming. They surrounded him, and it was mostly white kids, Antifa types, screaming at him, calling him an Uncle Tom and everything else. And his guys came over to protect him. Because he was a sergeant, he had a crew. They came over. They were white. And it was just an interesting dichotomy because the worst grief he was taking, exactly as you're saying it. Look, what the Dems have to recognize, aside from the fact that we should be colorblind by this point, and it constantly comes up, and it's not the right that brings it up, but South Asians are coming. You've got people like Vivek, Nikki Haley. This is a voting bloc that's coming. They're succeeding. They're very much like the Ellis Islanders of old. They play this game at their peril because these folks are coming and they're going to be players.
I wonder how this cartoon came about, which was supposed to be funny, but it wasn't at all. You know, Harris, does an editor approve this? I mean, it had to go through multiple layers.
Well, I don't know much that ends up with this much high-profile feature that doesn't get seen by an editor. I mean, I wasn't there, but I would have to assume somebody saw it. But then you have to ask, well, what is tolerable and what isn't? So somewhere in that area where this guy was creating this, he felt like it was okay to do this. I will say this, Vivek Ramaswamy is the American dream.
Yes.
Yes.
And, I've met his family, and I don't know. And while we're at it, Donald Trump was probably one of the best examples of this, too. I mean, you talk about pushing against the rich and elite, also very wealthy. Right? Yeah. But finds a way to connect with everybody. Vivek Ramaswamy, he loves the guys in the MAGA hats. He was the person who first said if he were made president and former President Trump needed his help, he'd pardon him. That's who got that party started. So I don't get the cartoonist at all. Doesn't he know that these men support one another too, intra-party? You know about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And Amy, I will say, of all the candidates, Vivek is beloved in the Republican Party. I would say he's in the top 3 names I see regularly on social media. People love him.
Ramaswamy, it's a great name. It's memorable. And I think taking this experience and bringing to light who the people are is exactly the conversation that we're having right now. Is the good that comes out of something that was meant to be bad, is reminding everybody the faces, the people, the places that they've come from. And that's what is the good that comes from this.
Yeah. I wonder
Amen.
what Tim Scott is facing.
Yeah, oh, quite a lot, yes, but
God
he's
bless
killing
him.
it.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.